Joining us live on Street View at Lunch is Prakash Diwan, Director at Altamount Capital Management. Prakash, afternoon. Thanks for joining us on ET. Now, firstly, how have you read into the auto sales for the month of June? It's clearly been a disappointment across companies, and even Bajaj Auto today has reported reasonably disappointing numbers. Do you think the pain, at least in the auto sector, is here to stay? And as a result, what would be your call on the auto pack?
Well, Sudeep, very clearly the auto numbers were not, like any case, nobody was expecting numbers to be very positive. But what's slightly worrisome is that it's across companies, across segments. While passenger cars and UE segment was likely to kind of feel the heat, I'm quite surprised at the fact that even the two-wheeler pack is seen some sort of a ground that they're losing out. The only encouraging thing that I would look at from these numbers is the tractor sales that have been significant for M&M, and I think at least Q2 would probably be far better for them than what we expect. So that's a stock to watch. Otherwise, my call on auto is probably, give it time, buy into the lower levels, particularly the likes of Bajaj Auto. I'm not too fond of TVS Motors at this point in time, but Bajaj Auto definitely looks quite good if it were to kind of move down a bit and, the strike issue or Chakan gets resolved as well. So, you need to be slightly patient buying into this pack. Don't be in a hurry as yet.
Prakash, what's the take now when it comes to the oil and gas space, considering the biggest policy moves have happened in that sector?
Yeah, Bajaj, this typically happens when, you suddenly have the news come through and, all expectations, beyond expectations as well. And my sense is, people will have to start building their position, accumulating the likes of a Reliance Industry or maybe ONGC if you are strong enough to kind of weather the vagaries of volatility of government decision making. But I think Reliance Industry clearly stands out as a clear winner in the making of sorts. It's not yet a winner, but it's a winner in the making, as I would call it, and probably you could give a 22% kind of an upside in the next 6 to 9 months as it draws closer to its deadline in terms of changing the gas pricing profile. But mind you, Reliance also could probably see some sort of a ground being lost if the markets were to take a toll, and that could happen, bring it back to those 800, sub 800 levels. So again, wait for the dips to buy in, but Reliance is a stock to watch within that pack.
Prakash, also what about the aviation pack? Again, news flow surrounding Jet Airways has been a bit negative. Renewed concerns on the regulatory approval for the Jet Etihad deal. What's your view on the aviation sector as a whole, and particularly on Jet Airways?
This is a sector that can obviously is not for the faint-hearted in any case, but given the kind of regulatory issues that are cropping up within this Jet Etihad deal, it's obvious and understandable because it's the first time the government is walking that path in terms of getting into this FDI zone. But I think those issues would get resolved. These are teething problems that happen in a new territory of sorts, and with the government being extremely wary and careful of the political ramifications of any kind of a give-in of sorts, I think this might take time, but at the end of the day, Jet would benefit out of this. As a stock, buy into it whenever you get these kind of lower levels thanks to the news flow, and it should definitely be worthy of accumulation as well. I'm not too fond of the other two players right now because there's still not clarity in terms of their growth going forward. So Jet clearly stands out to be a choice out of the three.
Prakash, what's the take on IT right now? Because soon we would be awaiting Infy's numbers.
Well, there's too much being written and talked about Infy in terms of going forward, but this time around I don't think the numbers are going to come up with any kind of pleasant surprises. And IT would start coming back into the focus once we're through with this overhang on the immigration bill, and of course the rupee has suddenly seen a little bit of hardening, which I don't think is very sustainable. So once the rupee also starts kind of getting into that negative bias of sorts, IT will start working up. And of course, mind you, the next quarter, particularly the current July to September quarter, could be much better for IT companies because they very clearly have some visibility of what kind of hedging to carry out, and that will help them reap the entire benefit of the rupee depreciation, which they've not been able to do in the previous quarter. So wait for IT also to outperform, but right now it could probably be sluggish for the next couple of weeks till the numbers from Infy are out.
What about the telecom pack? Prakash, obviously there's news flow on that sector as well. Top body of the DoT is likely to consider a move to allow 100% FDI in the sector. Obviously, this is just one of the approvals that this particular proposal needs. It will need to be cleared by perhaps the cabinet as well. But what's your sense? Do you think the worst is behind this sector?
Well, it seems like, that the sector is finally seeming to kind of be getting into a state of resurrection of sorts, both operationally and from a regulatory perspective as well, which is a good sign because on the ground also, the sense of intense competitiveness which was driving prices down and tariffs down is kind of changing favorably. So I would definitely look at the sector actively, but, taking the right call in terms of which stock to buy and what timing to get into will be slightly critical. So, as you get these opportunities, definitely it's a sector to go long on. And I think institutionally also, it should start seeing some very significant additions to the portfolio.
So, Prakash, leave us with one stock idea which is looking attractive at this juncture.
Well, the last time I was here, a couple of weeks back, I had mentioned Lupin, and it's, gone as anticipated. I still believe that's a stock that people need to buy into, given the kind of momentum that just started. 910, 930, 935 could be, levels that we'll see very soon on the stock. So there you have a defensive play, a growth story in the making, and a stock that's still kind of got some headroom.
All right, Prakash, thanks for joining in with the latest on that particular, with your street view as always. That's Prakash Diwan.